Hi guys, and welcome back to class. Today we're going to continue our work with Claudette Colvin in Lesson 4. To start off for this lesson, our focusing question task is what motivated Claudette Colvin? And our content framing question in our reveal stage says, what does a deeper exploration of injustice reveal? And our craft question for Lesson 4 in our execute stage says, how do I ask a research question for a short research project? So let's go ahead and get started. Based off of what you've read so far in the novel, what have you learned about what defines and shapes a sense of self? How does Claudette describe her sense of self and that of the other Black students? So you are going to have to go back into your reading and see, how did these Black students feel when it came to others? How did they see themselves when it came to certain situations? Did they see themselves as inferior? Did they see themselves as equals? How did they see themselves and why? In today's lesson, we're going to examine some advertisements. Now, these were ads that were made in the 1960s inside of Ebony magazine. The two ones that we're going to be looking at is Models Can't Take Chances on page 98, and Bring New Beauty to Hard to Manage Hair with Lustra Silk on page 103. So you'll click the link that's inside of Schoology. It's going to look like this. And when you open it up, you're going to see an ad, but you're not on the actual page that you need. You will need to scroll to page 98 and to page 103 to get to the appropriate ad. And then you're going to ask yourself, what hair problems do the advertisement's products claim to fix? And who are the intended customers for these products? And how do you know? Now let's look up the word ebony. Using the definition of the word ebony, what can you infer about Ebony magazine? So Ebony magazine was created by a man named John H. Johnson, an African-American journalist and publisher who was living in Chicago. He founded the Ebony magazine in 1945. The magazine achieved nationwide circulation and had over 1.8 million readers by the beginning of the 21st century. So now going forward, what is the implied message that these ads are selling to Black women? What do the ads and products promote as the values that shape or should shape a Black woman's sense of self? Now let's think back to the crossover. How does Josh's perception of his hair compare to what Claudette describes? What does this comparison help you understand about historical circumstances? So there will be a series of questions inside of Schoology for you all to answer. Now you guys are going to read from pages 23 to 24 and ask yourself, who is Jeremiah Reeves and what happens with him? Now you're going to pick a character or category, either Black citizens in Alabama, Claudette's classmates, or Claudette herself. And you're going to ask yourself, how does Jeremiah's trial affect the people in each one of these categories? Anytime you see one of these are going to be important vocabulary words that need to be added to your vocabulary journals. You're going to read aloud pages 24 through 26 and answer these three questions that you will find inside of Schoology. Now on to our research. Now let's look at the text boxes on page 23, or Brown versus Board of Education, Topeka, page 29. What do these text boxes reveal? And our craft question in this stage, when we're executing, how do I ask a research question for a short research project? On page 22, what is the name of Claudette Colvin's high school? So if we wanted to research Booker T. Washington, what would be some questions that we would ask? Whenever we read complex text, there are often references to people, events, and ideas that are not discussed in detail. In this case, the text provides a reference to the name of Claudette Colvin School, which is Booker T. Washington, but it does not provide any additional information about the person who the school was named after. So if you were reading this and you realize that Claudette Colvin School Washington and you don't know who he is, what are some questions that you may ask about that name of the school? So now looking at these Booker T. Washington questions, I want you to research these questions for homework tonight and be prepared to share out in tomorrow's lesson. To end this lesson in our content framing question in our reveal stage, what does a deeper exploration of the injustice reveal? For tonight's homework, you need to read chapters 4, pages 31 through 37 and annotate for significant events that took place, as well as research your Booker T. Washington questions. Alright guys, that's going to be it for today's lesson. Again, if you need any help, please come to office hours Monday through Friday, 11:22 to 12:06 p.m.